Disclaimer: the content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they may have, and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. And now...
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ben and Amy on The Heavy Truth.
Hello, welcome back.
Hi,
this is Amy.
welcome back. I'm Ben. How are you?
I'm good. Things are good.
Yeah. As we head further into spring, how was Mother's Day? And you had a birthday and things like that.
That was all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I get, well, I'll rephrase. Before I met Mike, I would get gypped on my birthday and Mother's Day. Because, well, my parents owned a florist for many years, so we were very busy with Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
So as a child, I got gypped also. So Mike has been great in making sure that it's very separate. So he did a great job. Once again, thanks, Mike.
Awesome.
It was Nurses Week, too.
It was.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
So, it was just a week-long celebration. It was nice, though. Kids were cute. It was nice.
Good.
Thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, what are we talking about today?
Oh, are you asking me or telling me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
So I thought we should talk about the topic of like body dysmorphia, self-esteem, the mental side of weight loss,
I love that one.
Because, everyone wants to talk about what life looks like trying to lose weight, but what does life look like once you've lost the weight or even along the way, right? And I know we all struggle with that, having at some point, the body we don't like if we're overweight. Sometimes we imagine a body what we think it should look like, what we imagine what it will look like, and then
I used to imagine what I thought I looked like until you see pictures, and then I'm like, wow, that's telling.
Like that glamour shot photo that you sent me, because
No,
that
I
was
was
really
cute then.
telling. I mean,
I thought
that was telling me you went to the mall and someone charged you up the butt for a stupid photo that we were later going to laugh about. And here we are laughing about it.
it's not like
Maybe it's just me still laughing about it. I don't know.
the picture you saw is a headshot. It wasn't even full body. So
Yeah, I wasn't asking for a boudoir because you were a child.
No, I was like 16 or 17. It's not like I was 7.
Oh, yeah. Well, still didn't want to see that either.
It was still fun.
But if any of you would like to see that lovely glamour shot photo of my co-host, Amy, we can definitely...
Glamour
get it up
shots.
there. Glamour shot was a shit back then.
It was a shit.
Yes. You all we went to the mall, right? And they gussied you up.
Was it for guys too?
Yeah, I never went to it. I mean, being gay, you'd think that I would.
That's
but
what I'm saying. Yeah.
No,
but guys could go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No.
It's kind of like when you went to the on vacation, right, to some place that would have those Western photos.
Well, yeah.
You all have those Western photos, like you're sitting in a saloon looking like a hooker, or someone's going to shoot you, and you take Western photos and put it up in your house. We all laugh at that now.
Yeah. We just did that not too long ago. I don't know, maybe 6 years ago with the kids. It was fun.
Oh. Yeah. It was fun for the two of you?
No, it was fun for everybody.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fun.
We'll have to have your children on another episode and see if they think it was as fun as you think it was.
Yeah, I know they were all really super hot because, like, in the place it was at, there was no air.
Were you at the Dells?
No, we were in Tennessee.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was hot. They were all sweating. They were so angry. Remember, Mike? It was
putting
funny.
on these old costumes that someone else just wore.
Yes, they were probably still wet, right?
Yeah.
Because they were sweating in them. But
put this shit on. We just want to go on the rides. You're not going on the rides until you put this on.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, back to what we were talking about. Yes, and I agree. I think body dysmorphia can be a big thing, especially with weight loss. Oftentimes it's very emotional. A lot of aftermath, after we have the physical success, right? But we don't often, people think always about the physical success, but we don't wonder how that toll that is taken on emotional success and relationships and things like that, right? Weight loss.
No, yes, it's true. Because it does, like I said, it goes both ways. I mean, when I was, 85 pounds heavier, I didn't think I was as heavy as I really was until I saw myself in pictures, right?
Yeah.
And now, fast forward, if somebody says to me, well, you don't have to worry about that. You're thin or you're skinny. I'm just like, are they talking about me? And I don't feel like I'm skinny, but
Oh, yeah. I get that too.
Right?
People say, oh, you're so skinny. And I'm like, funny thing is that affects me. I tell them, I said, I'm thinner, that I know, but I wouldn't call myself skinny.
right. So
Right.
is that you being triggered because somebody's saying you're thin, or is it?
They're not saying thin. If they're saying you were thinner, I'd be fine. But that's it is triggering.
I think
to
it
me.
is for me too
It
when
is
people
triggering.
say that.
Because I think just as people saying, oh, you're fat, can be just as seem upsetting or triggering when people say,
As
oh, you're so skinny.
Skinny, yeah.
Right?
Right.
As opposed to saying, oh, you've lost a lot of weight. You look thin, you look healthy, you look good. Even saying that you look healthy, that sounds bad because being overweight, people don't say you look unhealthy, right? I mean, that's that weird wordage and verbiage that,
Yeah. No, that's true. And so, I mean, really what comes down to is body image does not change when you lose weight.
Yeah.
It doesn't improve with weight loss. You still have it, for sure.
Yeah. And it takes time to read. I always tell people it takes time for what you see in the mirror to catch up with what you think in your brain. Right?
And if it'll ever get there.
If it ever would get there, right? Because
Yeah.
I can tell you, having lost the amount of weight that I have, and I know I've shared with them that my heaviest weight was 425 pounds. And currently I range between 215 and 220. That's where I keep my weight at now. So realistically, I've lost half of who I was, right? Majority of my life, who I was. And so I still don't see myself as someone that, I shouldn't say only, but someone that has lost that amount of weight, right? There are different victories, non-scale victories.
It's like 200 pounds,
Yeah.
Ben. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be that. People can have that image
For sure.
with less weight, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
But I don't see myself as that person. And it is that image. You look in the mirror and you see something different than what everybody else sees, right? And that could be a big thing. And so the real term is called body dysmorphic disorder, or BDD, right? It is a mental health disorder characterized by an obsessive focus on perceived physical flaws that often is unnoticed by others. And that's, right from the American Psychiatric Association and the DSM-5 book, right? And so it's exactly that. No one else knows that I'm seeing that. But I have people that tell me exactly that. And I see that in myself, right? And so, I mean, we see all the flaws, right? That's what we see.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So
I mean, like in ourselves, not we as in like you and I see when we talk to our patients. We see the flaws in.
yeah, we don't know what they're thinking
Yeah.
unless they verbalize it to us, But I know you've had patients, I've had patients that, verbalize what they're going through. Do you have any specific examples to share? Do you have one?
I can just tell you myself, but yeah, I do. I mean, I do have, and I'm not going to, it's not any one person in particular. It's kind of like a real life, kind of like an example, right? A woman would come into my office, in her mid 30s. She's lost over like 100 pounds using, structured nutrition, right? Calories, carbs, proteins. She's now at her, perhaps a GLP-1 or an alternate form of therapy to lose the weight. She's now maintained that weight, right? We're looking at, right, labs have improved. Her mobility has gotten better. People are telling her, she's got compliments from everybody, right? Her parents, her coworkers, her children, maybe her husband, girlfriend, whoever it is. But she herself looks in the mirror and sees something different, right? People will start to avoid mirrors because they start seeing things like the loose skin, or maybe the cheekbones are a little more pronounced, or they just feel more panicked when they try on clothes. I actually can say I had a patient who lost a significant amount of weight, and we were talking about she was worried or panicked because she was going shopping with her sister, and her sister was taking her to buy jeans, and she hadn't worn jeans in 20 years. And I asked her, do you have jeans at home? She said, yes, but they're this size. And I said, well, and she said, oh, those never fit me. Those were my skinny pants. That's what she said to me. And I said, okay, do yourself a favor. This was our goal that she and I were working. I said, go home. No one's at home. Try those jeans on. Maybe they fit, maybe they won't, but you'll get a good idea of how that's going to feel. So when you go to the store, you have a realistic impression, right? Because I've had those. I can tell you, I went to the store with my mom. We were going, and I was that person. I needed jeans. I headed to the big and tall section, and my mom was like, where are you going? I'm like, big and tall. And she's like, why? You're not big and tall. So I went to I'm putting in air quotes, normal section for men's section. I grabbed a pair of jeans that were my size. They were too big. I went down several sizes. I found a pair, and I tried them on, and they fit. And I thought in my mind, this must be mismarked. There's no way that these are that size.
Right.
And so I yelled, through the, Mom, she comes. I threw it over the door. I said, go get this in a size, blah, blah. I said, no, not these. This is mismarked. She brought me another pair, and it fit the same. And I was like, is this whole batch mismarked? Fuckers. Sorry. But so that was her. And so when she came back to see me, she was excited to tell me that when she went home, she waited till no one was home. Kids were gone. Husband was gone. And she said, I tried the jeans on. And she said, they fit. And I said, oh, great. She goes, no, I don't mean they didn't fit. Like I still had to go get ones that were smaller. But I didn't have to worry about it. She goes, they went right on. And then when I went out with my sister, she said, I only bought one pair because I was still kind of nervous. She said, but I got into this size and I was so excited because I was able to wear jeans. And I've had other people even still have to buy the bigger size jeans, but they were excited because I always want to tell them, you need to realistically know where you are at. Right. And that was my eye opener. I had to realistically know where I was at. And I think it's a really hard thing to do because we look at ourselves in the mirror and we see the flaws. We don't see oh, how nice you look in that. Or, oh, eventually that changes a bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But anyway, going back to, right. So she avoided mirrors. Like I said, she avoided trying on clothes, and she was constantly looking at her loose skin or, her sagging breasts or under, what people call chicken wings, right? The excess skin under the arms, and she just didn't feel like she loved herself. She was like, something was broken, right? Her idea in her head, internal battles didn't match what she was seeing in the mirror, right? It's but you know what? Yeah. I'm her, I'm her, she's me. I'm the same, for a long time. I would look in the mirror and it wasn't matching with what I had in my head, right?
So you still felt like you were bigger than you were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
What about you? I mean, you've lost quite a bit of weight. How did that change for you? I mean, I think, and maybe I'm going to ask this question. So, we have vacations together, but you've also gone on vacations, with your family, and you've gone to resorts where you have to wear a swimsuit and things like that. I've noticed that some women that are overweight will always be the one that, stand behind everybody in the pictures or wear a cover up everywhere, even in the pool. And then you have some women that are overweight that could give two shits, and there they are in a bikini, right? More part of them. How did that affect you? And that you were compare that, right? When you were at a heavier weight compared to now, like if we had to go buy a swimsuit, were you, or are you nervous about how things will look? Or because I know you send me pictures of clothes of yourself in clothes like yay or nay, just because I'm like, girl, no, that looks like something Mini Pro from Hee Haw would wear. That's a no. But
I mean, back in the day, I used to wear cover-ups and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, I'm in my 50s.
A topless speech. Look at these.
I'm not going to wear a bikini, nor do I have the body to wear a bikini. But no, I mean, I I definitely over criticize myself for sure, you know, but same thing that I'll tell my friends or family or people I see, you know, I say loose skin is a good problem to have because it shows where you've been and how hard you've worked, you know, so sure, you may not like it, but look at, this is from all the hard work that you've done, you know, so I try not to hate on myself too much, honestly, you know, but I know it doesn't consume my thoughts daily.
Really, producer Mike? Making all the banging and clanging here so he can get a peanut butter M&M?
It doesn't consume my thoughts daily.
Yeah.
Like doesn't cause me depression, anxiety. Like I mentioned, I say to you, but for many people, it consumes their life.
Oh, for sure.
You know, so that's
they obsess
not
over
me.
the loose skin, stretch marks, you know, or what they think is lingering fat, right?
Yeah, right.
And their goal is, oh my God, I want to have this fixed, right? What procedure can I have? Can I have a, BBL? Can I have a paniculectomy? Can I have a flankoplasty? Can I have a torsoplasty? Can I have a leg lift? Can I have an arm lift? You know?
Yeah. And they just, have more and more and more and more, Now, if I had all kinds of money, would I have any of those procedures? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but you have to be ready for those procedures too, right? Because you could be mentally unprepared for those procedures.
Right.
And while the outcome may be perfect from a surgical standpoint, if you're not ready for that, your outcome in your mind is never going to be where you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, as you know, and maybe our listeners know, after all of my weight loss, I did have skin removal. I had an oblique flankoplasty with lipo. And I think I'm very pleased with the outcome, right? I think it looks great. I think I will say that I have changed that body dysmorphia in my mind where I don't look at it and think to myself, oh, there needs to be more lipo there, or this needs to be this. This isn't, I see it looks good, right? And so that's not an issue, but I'm in that percentage that still says, oh, what else but look at this.
Yeah.
And as we were just discussing prior to this, I had a recent doctor's visit with my plastic surgeon. It was the 1 year follow-up from my oblique flankoplasty. And it's funny because all of my friends call it fatsoplasty. I apologize if that offends anybody. It's just in our close circle of friends.
We're here to have fun.
We're here to have
so
fun.
If anyone's offended,
so I actually told my surgeon about it. So when I saw her, we were laughing and she was like, oh, your fatsoplasty looks good. Ha ha ha. Yes, scars look good. But I have some excess breast tissue or like hanging skin or fat.
Ben's getting his titties done.
Yeah. So then she said, that's what I was going to say. So she said to me, I was like, she's like, your friends call that your fatsoplasty. What are you going to call this? I was like, titsoplasty. But that has always been something, right? Men have that gynecomastia where,
what size implant are you getting?
That was asked too, right? I think producer Mike asked me that, and I think I said a solid C. But I plan to have that done.
Yeah.
Because I feel that needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Right? But I think it's no different than women that do have their breasts done and things like that. But it can become obsessive. But at what point are you satisfied? Right? Where does that identity match? But I don't think there's ever a time frame where you can say, oh, at 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 6 year. I will tell you 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago, even though I was at that weight loss, I didn't have that, right? And it wasn't until, like you said, I noticed in a picture, oh, that was me.
Yeah.
Or I was walking past a mirror and I glanced and I said, oh my God.
And you didn't mind looking at it, right?
It was me. No, I didn't mind looking at it. Right. Yeah. And you know what, Amy, I could even see my reflection. Right?
Yeah.
Most people think that vampires can't, but you can.
So you're not part of that. Body dysmorphia affects a little over 40% of men and 70% of women.
Oh, I am part of that.
Yeah,
I am part of that. Yes. I think.
But let me tell you, those statistics, it's because women lose more weight. I mean, they go on these weight loss journeys more so than men, So,
oh, for sure.
So it's probably 50-50, like if you think about it. But the reason we have these is because men don't care about losing weight. They're just like, it's fine, you know.
They can stop drinking soda and lose that 20 extra pounds or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, even in bariatrics, I mean, we know the percentage of men that come in for bariatric surgery is very, very low.
I mean, even in our practices, I can tell you, maybe 20%, 25% of my practice is male. The rest is female.
I probably have a little bit more.
Usually the males, I will say, of that 25%, 10 of them are because their wife is in the program with them.
Yeah. That's partly it too. I feel like it's not 50-50 for me, but it's probably, maybe 35, 40%. So a little bit more than you, but still mostly women. But
so how do you recognize that in your patients? And what do you tell them when they come and tell you that with their weight loss and what they see?
Well, because I'm always wanting to know what their goals are. Like, have we met the goals that we've discussed? Let's say they are at
And that's
goal.
a big thing, right? It has to be their goals, right?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
their goals. And their goals have to be those SMART goals, right? That they're measurable, they're realistic goals, there's a time frame, right? All of those for a measured outcome.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, if people have met these goals that they've outlined and yet they're still like, oh, well, I think I can maybe go another 5 or 10 pounds or, and then they start to become maybe a little bit unhealthy. Now we use a body composition machine at our practice and I utilize that.
We do as well.
I utilize it a lot to help patients, help them understand where they are composition wise, right? With muscle mass and fat and everything like that. So then we'll have a conversation. Like I'll say, you're good here. Like this is a really good number. The number's good. The percentage is good. Your lean muscle's good. All of it looks really good. It's up here then, then mentally they're just still, they're not there. So then at that point, oftentimes, and I will send them for behavioral health.
Oh yeah. I think therapy is a really good thing for weight loss, to have someone to talk to about it. And it's not just, to talk to someone who's going to like help you stay on track with your weight loss, but needs to talk to you about how you're feeling about that weight loss, right? Because you, oftentimes you are grieving. I know that's really strange to say, but you're grieving who you were, right? You were maybe that, you put a name for yourself. Oh, you were that funny fat guy, or you were you were always the third wheel friend, or you were the big guy, or you were the funny girl or whatever. And now you're grieving that because you don't have that identity anymore. And I've seen it, and I've read about this in many relationships, that one partner, male, female, whoever the partner is it gets upset because their partner has lost all the weight and they're no longer that insecure person that they were. They always stayed home. Now they want to start going out, or people are talking to them, people are noticing them. And there's that weirdness that suddenly happens.
Yeah,
right?
But that's something that's been ongoing for quite some time.
Right,
and
but that's what I mean. But there's that grieving process because you've lost that former identity, right? Of what you used to be.
Wait, are you saying that the person that's lost weight is having this, or
the person that lost weight is having
significant others having issues with it?
It could be both, right? But when I'm talking about the patient in their mind loses that identity. Like, who am I now? I used to always be that funny fat guy or whatever, and now who am I now? If I'm not, now I'm just another thin guy, or I'm just another,
And you gain confidence, and people start talking to you, looking at you, or and then, that causes issues in relationships as well. But, also from what I've read, and even in my own practice, when I've seen that happen, 9 times out of 10, there was things bubbling below the surface for a long time. And that just kind of put it in fast forward. But also there's that unexpected, psychological consequence, like,
food for many people is a coping mechanism. And now they may have removed some of those coping mechanisms. What do they do, right? So for instance, like my patient that we talked about, she, after a hard day at work or whatever, a stressful day, right? We all have heard this, right? You come home and you have those comfort foods, right? Oh, the mac and cheese or the candy or the sit on the couch and watch a movie and eat some chips or whatever. And now that's different. So how does she do the self-soothing, right? Or how does she comfort herself now when things like that happen?
That would be a martini. Are you asking? Oh, you're not asking me.
No, ma'am, not asking you.
Okay, got it.
But okay, well,
right. How do you?
Hold on, let me take a note down for that. Patient states she comforts herself with.
So what I'm saying here, folks, is anything in moderation.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
So again, you're right. Now, seriously, like, how do you? Soothe yourself or cope with that. You have to find other coping mechanisms. And sometimes that does lead to alcohol use or substance abuse, or because if you're not eating anymore, you can't, then it's like a transfer addiction type thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is something.
Which help. That's what we talk about, tying in those mental health
absolutely.
Professionals to help with things like that. Because like we talked about, like we had just said, relationships shift, whether it be your friend group because you were the funny fat friend or the one that they knew no one was going to talk to, so they'd be fine, or whatever. And now you may be going out with your best friend who was always the pretty girl, the handsome, hot guy, whatever. And now people are talking to you and they feel like the attention is no longer on them. And things change, right? Or like we said, you have that spouse that changes, the romantic things change, or you never had those people interested in you, so you don't know how to deal with someone saying like giving you that compliment. You're not used to that, right?
Yeah, no,
which can catch you off guard.
I think I'm very fortunate that, like my friend group, our friend group, like they're great, So I mean. Think we were friends with some of them heavier. I know Mike for sure, like when he first started in one of the areas that he worked in when he first came to where I'm work as well, he was heavier, he's lost significant, like how much do you know, like how much did you lose
Producer
from
Mike?
When you, mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So like 50 pounds. I mean, it's a lot, but we're still friends with all those same people, but sometimes I feel like, people jump on and they also want to get healthier, so a lot of our friends, are also kind of on that, they're just trying to improve things, right. And have lost weight and look great and everything. And then there are others that maybe have pulled back because they're like, oh,
they can't eat in front of us because they think,
that is the most annoying thing. Let me tell you right now that when people are like, oh, put that away, weight management's here or Amy's coming or whatever. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Do you see what's in my drawer? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that irritates me a lot.
But even if they didn't know that we were weight loss providers, even knowing that we had lost that amount of weight, they don't want to put out something fattening or put out something like, oh, well, we don't want to try to sabotage what, the only person that you can sabotage, we can only self-sabotage ourselves, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I appreciate that person's their want or whatever just to help us.
Note for Amy, hide the booze because apparently she's going to have a martini. But at the same time, in ourselves, it's that fear of regain, right? So that can also often lead to like over-controlling, over-exercising, restrictive eating. So I think that's where it's very important to get our mental health professionals involved, right? Because there is that increase, right, of that vulnerability for eating disorders, post-bariatrics or rapid weight loss, because there's that fear of weight regain, right? And then we still have that belief by many people, eat less, lose weight, right? And that's the first thing we turn to is eating less because we'll lose weight. And that's not where we need to turn. Healthy eating,
right. And, making sure that we do kind of check in mentally, right. To make sure that we're doing okay. And, self-care and self-compassion is a real big one.
Yeah.
And for us as providers, making sure that we are keeping tabs on people too and asking them how they're doing, so if they need any extra resources. But something I have started also doing is, like if I've noticed somebody's lost weight or something like that, I don't say to them, oh, have you lost weight or you look like change it up again, like, and that's what they say too in a lot of the journals that I read, saying that, you shouldn't say, have you lost weight? Or,
wow, I
you
see
look
you
good.
lost weight. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But just, you look refreshed, or you look energized,
Mhm.
or
You look, instead of saying,
did you change your hair? Something like that,
Amy,
instead
did
of,
you change your hair?
no,
Yeah, I know. I didn't think so either.
no, just up in a bun today, Ben, but thank you. Thanks for the compliment though.
No, that wasn't a compliment. That was a question. Like, Amy, did you change your hair? See how that inflection changes that?
Yeah,
But I think, but pulling it all back, that's where that collaboration has to be, I think, with mental health professionals, someone to speak to if you're having issues, right? And because I think in ourselves, we're the last to realize that.
Yeah, because weight loss is just one chapter of the wellness journey.
Absolutely.
There could be a couple chapters of the emotional journey.
Yeah.
Right. So, we
we have to be compassionate, right? And try to address, our mind as well as our body, right? Because it's that full support, self-acceptance, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Take care of our body, our soul, change our lives.
Yeah. It's something that is, you got to work on.
Yeah. Because weight loss can be just as emotionally draining as weight gain. I think
Absolutely.
I think people don't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're feeling this is hitting, something, come talk to a professional about it. And
speak to your primary care provider. Speak to your who you feel is your support structure, whether it be
someone you can trust, right?
Yeah, someone you can trust, whether it be a spouse, whether it be a friend, a coworker, your spiritual advisor.
Because 70% of women have body dysmorphia, 40% of men, 30 to 40%. So it's out there.
It is out there.
Get help for it if you need it. That's what we're here for.
That's what we are here for, Amy.
Just to educate y'all, and please
educate us as well, right?
Yeah.
Send in your stories, send in your questions. Tell us what you found. We always want to hear from you, right? Because we don't know it all. I mean, I know it seems like we do, right?
We're learning every day.
We are learning every day. We're here to help you and hopefully put a smile on your face. You get a little tidbit, a pearl of knowledge, and can laugh. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
well, until next time.
They can find us on all social medias: TikTok, Insta, Facebook, Spotify. What other ones? All of those. X. Oh.
Oops.
Oh.
And this is Amy.
And I'm Ben.
And this is The Heavy Truth. Take care.
Bye.